Doing it yourself is potentially going to be a disaster. Unless you are qualified in that trade, I highly recommend using qualified builders, qualified trades to do the work. Now, it seems really glammy and really fun because of all of the social media that we're seeing where people are doing renovations themselves. Now, that could be a really big mistake because you may be not doing something correctly, especially with flooring, kitchens, plumbing, electrical. All of these things need to be ticked off and certified for you to be able to sell that property. And you want to make sure that whoever buys your property has a good experience with you and doesn't buy the property and have major dramas and issues. So make sure you're looking at using qualified people, or if you are looking at doing a home build, that your contractors are qualified. Not budgeting for things that can go wrong. Now, renovating and doing a major renovation, you need to have some surplus cash flow because there's always things when you start renovating an old property where you can never think about it. For example, electrical, roofing, plumbing are some of the major things that you would not be able to see on a pest and building report that might need adjusting. And these things could blow out your costs. Plumbing could blow out costs 10, 20, 30 grand. Electrical could blow out your costs, and a whole new roof could blow out your costs. So make sure that you do have some money set aside for things or a percentage of your total build as a surplus for things that need to be varied. Not thinking about street appeal. A lot of people don't realize, but an actual valuer actually has one of the components in their valuation that needs to look at the overall street appeal of the property. The street appeal is basically how does the property look pretty much from standing on the street. How you look at that is by landscaping, gatehouses, fencing, and the paint, the door, the stairs, all of these items will add to the street appeal of the property. Don't forget about street appeal. Not sticking to a timeline. I mean, a renovation without an actual project timeline could take you years and add extra costs such as interest on your loans for doing that process. Plus, it could add extra construction costs due to delays in getting things signed off with building material. So sticking to a timeline is crucial. Make sure you know how you're budgeting your time versus money when it comes to renovating a property, as well as timing of when you want to put the property on market. Because if you get all of those factors right, you can always sell the property at the maximum value. Following trends that date fast. It's all true and well to understand what's trending, but make sure that the property is going to suit as many people as possible. For example, in this property, we've decided to go for white walls. And the reason for that is not only does it make the property look more light and open, but it suits a lot of people, especially when they're looking at furnishing a property. Going for more of a lighter kitchen will also appeal to more people. Because if you're starting to make it too unique to what you like and adding features like certain colors, this may not suit a lot of people. So what you're doing is you're actually cutting out a large market that you can resell the property to. Even if you're holding the property, at the end of the day, you may need to rent the property out or you may sell that property later. So you need to think about this. Not getting permits and approvals. Anytime you're going to extend the property, add a bathroom, add a kitchen, add an extra dwelling on the property or a pool, you must have permits and approvals. If you don't get the permits and approvals signed off, whoever buys this property will be searching whether or not you have it. So you don't want to get to the end of your project and realize the whole sale falls through because you didn't get the right permits in place.